Eric is a shithead.
Okay, so yeah, Eric is late.
That's right. But
because he's shitting apparently.
Yeah, it happens.
What were we saying right before?
I was asking about Maria.
Oh yeah, so I did clean the room in part because of her, I guess.
Right.
But just in general, would I cleaned it anyway? But I guess
that was the push that made it like.
Sort of. It was part of it. It's hard to say how much it was. I would have cleaned it anyway. It was getting pretty bad.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I cleaned it up nicely, and I cleaned the Buddha with the little cloth too.
Nice. You polish your Buddha. That's a meditative thing there. Get some Buddha polish. Get all the gunk off him.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, you need a big painting for this wall, but I guess it doesn't matter because this wall won't be your wall much longer, right?
Yeah, I'm still aiming for June. What I've noticed with the moving thing is that a lot of people, I think, are writing me off because a lot of people are, when you call April, they're expecting move May,
Yes.
So, like, a whole bunch of people already wrote me off. So I'm thinking, I'm just going to keep looking. And then in May, maybe I got to just go harder,
Yeah. I'll tell you from my experience that really is how it is. They're looking to fill, like, the vacancies, like, really fast. They don't want to wait because there's so much demand that, the first person, there's a lot of good candidates, so why should they wait a whole another month when they can rent it, like, tomorrow? People are so fucking eager to move in. And that's just how this area is. And that's why when I saw the place there I'm living now, it was like, as soon, you have to have all your, like, stuff ready. All your money has to be ready. You have to be in, like, pretty much, like, if you needed to, like, you could move in, like, basically, like, tomorrow. Like, you could pay for everything, That's the first thing. All that money has to be, like, at the ready. And your credit needs to be good and all that stuff.
I'm good on that. But but when you went to rent your house now, when you first saw it, did you make a deposit on the spot? Or
no. Well, yeah, actually, what happened was, as soon as I got a push notification on my phone, and I was pissed about it, and I was like, what the fuck, this stupid app, and I was like, wait a second, look at this place, this is like could work, and I, in like 5 minutes, I looked up the place, looked at where it was, and like, I had to check a couple of things, like, how close is it to the train station, because that was a big deal, and blah, 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 is this area shitty, how much is it, anyway, like, basic, like, stuff, and it passed, like, all those things, so I immediately, I showed it to my wife and I was like, look at this place, I like it. I think it's good. Look at it. See if we can move on it, So then I immediately told, like, let's get her. And she was like, yeah, it looks good. So then I immediately, all was like in 10 minutes. And then I contacted the broker and I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I really like the look of this place. We'd love to stop by as soon as possible to come and have a viewing. And then I think it was something like the next day or something we went to view it. It was like super, I was like, yeah, how about tomorrow? Like really on top of it. Yeah. And then we went and we saw it and then, we looked at it and we were like, yeah, we like it. Let's get the application. Then we filled out the application that day and sent it right back that day. Like, can't wait on anything,
Application? What application?
The broker, the broker will give you an application. And they're just going to look for your basic info. All of your, like, I forget what they ask, where you're working. They ask for references, where you've been living and how long you've been living there. It's kind of like a background check kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember you asking me about that. Yeah, I remember they never called me to ask about you.
Yeah, I don't know if they always do, but that's just something they put on there to see if you have friends. Or if you're like a Ted Kaczynski living in the woods or something.
But yeah, I did check out a few places. One place in Harrison, it was like for $1,200.
Oh, okay.
And I went in there, and I went there like a couple weeks ago. I was going to tell you guys last week before we got sidetracked.
Oh, okay.
And the landlord wasn't there, but the person who was living there, she let me see the apartment. It was like 5 blocks from the pad.
Oh, wow.
Which is good and bad, I guess, because, during those bullshit games at the stadium, it gets so packed.
Yeah.
And things like that place is becoming popular, so that's kind of annoying. But at the same time, that doesn't come up that much.
No. And I think, like, you don't... Oh, you drive now. That's true.
Yeah, and also, like, 280 is, like, right there. So I can get on there probably pretty easily.
To head to work, yeah.
But anyway, I went in there, and there was the tenant was there, and she showed me. There was a tiny Asian lady. Mm-hmm. And I think she was afraid of me because she lived alone.
Right.
I think maybe she thought I was gonna kill her or rape her or something.
Right.
Which of course I wasn't gonna do.
Right.
But I felt like maybe she was scared. It was
Did
just
you talk to her at all? Did
Yeah,
you
yeah, I
ask her
did.
questions about the place?
Yeah, I did. I said hello. I try to like make it clear that I'm not gonna kill her.
Yeah.
So without explicitly saying that, of course.
Right. And then she's like, this guy's trying too hard. He's going to kill me.
So it was a tiny little place, and it was pretty narrow.
Okay.
Like, the kitchen was pretty wide. The bedroom was pretty decent. The bathroom was also okay, but like the little hallway, like the hallway in the house, was really narrow, and the
Right.
living room was really tiny. Like, for instance, let's say I was sitting on the couch here, and where you were sitting on the bed right now, that's where the TV would be. Let's say, and the wall's right there.
That's crazy.
It's
That
like
is a tiny.
Yeah, it was like really, really small.
For our listeners, that's about a distance of like 5 or 6 feet. It's
Yeah,
not,
something like that. Very, at the most 10 feet, let's say.
Yeah.
But still very...
That's nothing. It's
very-
like this room.
Yeah, it's very tight.
It's crazy.
So the living room was a little too tight, although it was kind of nice. The price was okay.
12 is good.
Yeah.
Especially for Harrison.
Yeah, and like, I guess maybe could, I don't know. But yeah, so there was like $1,200 or so, and I had to pay, I believe all I had to pay was electricity. So she was telling me she was paying with all her bills and everything like $1,300 or so a month.
Well, that's pretty good.
Which isn't bad. But then I'm like, that wasn't bad, but the apartment is, yeah, it's just too narrow. So I told he was okay with me moving in June because he was going to remodel it and everything.
Yeah.
Or like, not remodel it, but paint it and like have it
Right.
professionally clean.
Freshen it up a bit for you.
Yeah, but who knows how professional those cleanings are. Something tells me they're not the best. But then, yeah, so then I told him I'll think about it. He's like, okay. He seems like a really busy guy. He has like a million places. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
Always on the edge.
In that area, yeah. The realtor that we got was super laid back. I guess like he seemed like he had like a kind of like maybe like a breakdown at some point, and now he was like totally chill. He was like,
he just gave up.
because like we were kind of frantic, you know,
Yeah.
because we were like trying to get the place up and we're like, and he's like, you know, I always say just take it easy, you know, there's no rush. I mean, it's okay. I'll put in a good word for you, and he did actually, you know, because there was a couple like. It's like when you go, like I think it's important to kind of think about it like an interview a little bit,
Yeah,
because they're judging, like they want to see like how you act and shit. They're watching you,
Yeah.
and so yeah, and that's what happened after like we saw it. He kind of met us and he put in the good word for us, and yeah, that's how we were able to
You
get
saw
it.
it, like you were moving the following month, right?
I forget. No, we moved. Yeah, we were going in on the 1st of February, I think, was when we were going to.
And when did you first see that place?
We saw it in like January.
Like January, late January?
No, like the 1st or 2nd week of January. It wasn't. I didn't even give my landlord a whole month notice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so yeah, something like that is fine, I guess. But yeah, so I saw this place, and it was too narrow. So ultimately, I thought maybe, but like, ultimately, I'm like, no, I don't want to live here, you know. So I kind of just wrote it off.
Yeah.
And then I saw another place.
Oh, you've been busy.
In Elm Street, like literally a block away. And at first it was kind of a turn off because I'm like, that's too close to my family.
Right.
But at the same time, I kind of do want to be close to my mom and my brother. Kind of a little ambivalent because of being a little too close to them.
Right.
But then I thought, you know, if the place is right, it'd be nice to be close to my brother. It's, you know, it's not as long as my house is to myself, you know. But I still want to be in Kearney or like very close, you know. So I checked it out. And basically, I saw the twin brother of the apartment I would get because the one I would get was being painted or some crap. So I saw the twin brother right next to it. One of these two like older white ladies.
Oh, but the place you looked at was like pretty much identical
Yes.
to the one.
So I saw the identical one pretty much, according to them. And I'm like, of course I still would want to see it, but they're like, okay. So, and apparently they were okay with me moving in June 1st. So I looked at it, and that was pretty good. You know, it was a small place, but you know, a living room wasn't big, but it was nice and wide. You know, okay for one person or two people. Nice. You know, it was a wide living room, pretty big kitchen. You know, normal sized bathroom. And a little tiny hallway, I guess, and
Then with a tiny hallway.
a back door. The hallway was wide, though. It was like, you know, very small in the sense of its length, but
Right.
nice and wide.
It wasn't like a narrow.
Yeah, so it was
corridor.
Yeah, it was wide, and then a pretty decent sized bedroom, and that's it. So living room, bathroom, bedroom, kitchen, and two little closets.
Okay.
And I have a back door, and I get a parking spot.
Ooh.
And it was
Yeah, the parking spot.
yeah, the parking around here sucks balls.
That's huge, man. The parking spot is really big.
It is.
What are they asking?
So they're asking, they were asking what was it? I believe it was 1,300.
That sounds good, man.
But then I have to pay utilities.
Heat, hot water,
everything.
Oh shit, that sucks.
Yeah.
But still, 13 isn't bad.
Yeah.
Is it a newer place, nicer, or is it old?
The house is like on the outside, but the inside it looks pretty good. It looks pretty.
Like it's been remodeled in the past 10 years.
Yeah, it doesn't look like an ancient. And the electricity, the thing is, a good thing, I can control the heat. So if I don't use it, I'm not gonna spend much.
Right. And in a tiny place like that, it's like you might not need to like
utilities aren't gonna be that much. I figure.
Yeah. No, I think you'll be okay with that. I mean, it's like our electric bill is usually really cheap.
How much is it?
Oh man, it's so cheap sometimes. I think like
$30.
Yeah, even less sometimes.
Yeah, so I would spend probably 10 or something.
Yeah, really. Especially it's you have good, and sometimes what they'll do this just happened to us this month where they because they do it based on the averages of the past year or whatever, I don't know, and so they'll just kind of guess at how much electricity you've used. And so if they overestimate, they give you a credit, and we got a credit now.
Well, so they charge you before even knowing?
It's really stupid the way they do it, yeah. Because I remember, one time we did get a bill, and it was, way, way more expensive than it had ever been. And
That's him.
Is that Eric?
Yeah, and then they gave you credit?
I called up and bitched, and I was like, this is crazy. And they explained that to me. That they're like, well, we just do, based on the average usage.
Right.
And I was like, that's stupid.
So yeah, I don't know how much will hot water cost.
I don't know because I never had to pay it.
Yeah, I believe it was.
You know what? I'm suffer out there.
I might be getting confused. Maybe it was everything except they do pay hot water. I might be getting confused now.
Okay,
but more or less,
it still sounds like a good deal.
Regardless. Yeah, maybe I would think I would spend realistically maybe $14.50 everything, right? That seems pretty fair.
Yeah,
probably.
I think you wouldn't go over that.
So that's not too bad,
Especially, you don't have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so, let's go get Eric. So Eric came in late, by the way.
Late. 11 minutes late.
11 minutes late, Eric, when you're hearing this in the future. Just remember that. I'm kidding. Okay, so we can just stop here.
I was, alright, I'll call you Tony from now. I was getting the water and I was draining your water, the little Brita thing. I was like, I gotta refill it. And your mom was like, no, leave it there. I'll take care of it. And I'm like, no. And I was arguing with her. And I was like, is gonna get mad at me. And then David is gets mad at everything. And your mom is like, the special. He's the special one. Sorry, I failed there, Tony.
Oh. This is what the whole reason was, right?
Yeah. Called you by your Christian name.
You did?
Slave name.
Your slave.
No, that's my dead name. Is that what they say? When they if you get a sex change.
Oh, really?
Then,
I didn't know that.
So it's if I'm Paul and I turn into a woman, I become Paula. If someone calls me Paul, it's that's my dead name.
Don't you fucking call me Paul.
Whoa.
Man, I needed that run.
That shit's fucked up. It's hard, man. Because I know somebody that got it done. And it feels weird to, or they're in the process.
Oh, you know someone?
Yeah, so
from Harrison.
They were from Kearney. They moved though to Cali, but they come back every once in a while, for New Year's, we hung out.
Do I know this person?
I don't think so. I don't want to say their name, obviously,
right.
Especially because that's not their name anymore. But it's weird to because it's you're so used to calling this person something for so long, and then they're not that anymore. They're something else.
Yeah. It's
so it's and I'm sure they realize that it's an issue, but it's still
Did they go from? Was it a
female to male?
Female to male. Do they pass, as they say in the trans community? So you guys know that term, passing?
What does that mean?
Yeah, it's you look like where you're supposed to look.
Yeah, you're convincingly the other gender.
Oh, you wouldn't think. Yeah, more now, especially.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but it just looks like a scrawnier, kind of kid,
Right.
He doesn't have a big frame or anything. It's just
those are the hardest. It's really heavy set male wanting to become a female.
I mean, just become a fat chick,
But sometimes, men, are really barbose or hairy and stuff like that.
That's true.
Have very...
Let's not say anything for 5 seconds. Okay, just to capture the little bit so I can remove the noise. Okay.
That's fair.
It makes it easier. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to find a little spot, you know?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, so you were saying, when a guy goes to girl and he was a very manly person, then it's harder to... Some of them, honestly, some transgender people are so... Like, you can't even tell. Some are, like, hot.
They pass. That's the idea, you know? Like, the whole culture.
You know from Tinder, I'm sure.
Like, there's
it's like, ah, damn it.
I never told you guys this, but actually...
The Catfish Chronicles.
Maria is... Okay. But, some of them... now, I feel like if somebody ever hears what I'm from, I get called transphobic because I'm saying, surprisingly, some of them are actually hot. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, there's worse things in life than getting called transphobic, I guess.
Yeah. But it's not really transphobic because, I mean, realistically, I'm going to say it anyway because it's not evil.
Right.
Realistically, a man is not going to be attracted, generally, to a transsexual, a man who became a woman. You can tell, generally, and it's not attractive to a regular guy,
Right.
To a straight...
Yeah, usually there's, like, something off about it. And it's, like, I could tell on Tinder, when I look at the profile, the picture itself, like, something seems off, and then I click it, and I read it, and I'll be like, post-op, blah, 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 like they'd say it.
Uh-huh.
They're kind enough to, say something,
Right.
I feel like it's not hateful to say that. That's just, I don't know.
An honest assessment of our experience.
Yeah. And I feel like some guys are into transsexuals.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. There's definitely a ton.
But what about the what is it? What are they called? In Thailand, is it?
Ladyboys?
Ladyboys. The ladyboys. Those ladyboys.
I know some people who
they're different,
swung down that route.
A different breed,
They're crazy. They're like hot, It's like, oh
man.
Yeah.
Like, so that, I don't know, maybe...
It's like, I don't understand these feelings and stuff.
When you say boys, right, how young are they? They're old enough for, like, sexual consent, right?
Well, what do they do there?
Yeah, but they're...
Oh, you don't know about the ladyboys of Thailand. Eric, you want to...
They're just basically really good transsexuals. They're male to female, but I guess they start like younger than normal, so they get a good curve in.
They're kind of like groomed.
Yeah,
for this role as like they become like prostitutes or courtesans.
Basically,
courtesan is a nicer.
It's not horrible.
It's like their life. Their
career path.
Their main
carved out for
their main object in life is like sexy woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But do they feel like they themselves feel that way?
I mean, I don't know.
I'm not sure. I've heard about it. There was that show. I don't know if you remember. It was on a couple 10 years ago. Now, probably it was called Taboo.
Yeah, I love that show.
Taboo was a cool show, and it didn't stay on too long. I guess it was too taboo. But one of the episodes they discussed the.
We watched that at your sister's house.
Yeah, you were there, right? And we watched that shit together.
Never saw that.
That's probably how we both know about that.
Phantom Limb episode, that's the one I remember the most.
Oh, yeah?
Remember when people wanted to cut their legs and arms off because they felt like they should be amputees?
Oh, I saw that one that was Jerry Springer. There was a Jerry Springer episode.
That's crazy.
I don't know
that's like one of the one things that like bothers the shit out of me.
Yeah, there's some crazy like states that people can get into. It's like...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'll stop Bogarting.
No, go where you're saying.
Oh, just that, some people's, like, default, like, mindset is just so radically different from, like, what we would consider, like, the norm, But
these kids are forced into becoming those kind of transsexual
prostitutes? I don't remember. Yeah. I think it might vary. I don't know. I'm sure some are definitely put against their will.
I think it's a kind of well-accepted thing, though, which is the interesting thing. It's like, if I were, like, in Thailand, or I was in Thailand... I guess living there and born there or whatever, and it's like, and I wanted to have sex with like the ladyboy, they would be like, oh, you're gay, It's like a different thing if you have sex with a ladyboy. It's like if I had sex with a man, like that'd be gay.
Yeah.
But if I have sex with a ladyboy, it's like not gay.
It's like in Roman times and fucking a 12-year-old, like it's cool.
Oh. Yeah. Oh man, that's another crazy shit.
It's cool they got no beard on their chin. It's like the same thing.
I read this interesting book called Farewell Michelangelo. And then the author of that book, it has to do with like the restoration of the Sistine Chapel. And then he's talking about the era, like that Renaissance era. And then he framed it that way. He was like, it seems like there was almost a third gender in like Roman times. It was youth, so it was like male, female, youth, and then he just talks about all the crazy like stuff that these guys were doing with like children, basically.
Yeah, it got weird. And the first sign I should have noticed was when they, in plays, I remember in high school or middle school, whatever it was, talking about like Roman or whatever time it was, like theater, that they would use little boys for the roles of women and stuff like that. And that was the first sign.
Yeah, you're like, that's
like something's
thing.
up. It's like they don't got women that can read or like, you know, be actresses.
I'm good. Thanks.
Absolutely not.
You know, I don't know how sexism worked back then.
I think it was pretty extreme. It was pretty extreme, actually.
It's like, should we have women do the roles of women? Nonsense.
Never!
We'll get young boys.
You think women can be women?
Throw a wig on them and fuck them. It's the same thing.
Yeah. There is even like a creepy, I don't know if it's like a Arabic proverb or something like that. But
Is
it's
that too dark?
no, I'm good with that.
Are you?
It's something
You
like...
look a bit ominous, but I can take it.
So a little more.
You're like the claw from Inspector Gadget. You remember that? You don't want to stay at the side.
Oh, I remember Inspector Gadget. I used to watch that in Peru and like horribly over.
Oh, dude, me too. Man.
Overdubbing.
Except not in Peru.
Over like horrible translation, you know, like dubbing that sounds horrible.
How do you say go gadget whatever in Spanish?
I don't really remember.
Dale.
Yeah, I don't remember names from like anything like that. Like cartoons that I watched in Portugal that then I watch here.
Like
that definitely had different names.
Inspector Gadget was El Inspector
Do you want any more?
Trucchini.
I'm alright for now.
It was El Inspector Trucchini.
Trucchini? What is trucchini? Like trick or?
Like trickster or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But that's not really what it means, but sort of, you know?
Yeah. I'm sure you could not like do a one-to-one translation of Inspector Gadget and have it make any kind of sense.
I remember in Dragon Ball, Super Saiyans were called Space Warriors and stuff like that. They're warriors from space. That's what Saiyans were called.
Oh, okay, but not just Super Saiyans, but all Saiyans, like.
And Saiyan was like Super Saiyan was a super warrior. That's what it became.
Oh, okay, but Saiyan was just like warrior from space.
Yeah, because they got fucked up. I read the whole background, or I didn't read about it. Somebody made a video and I just watched it.
Nice.
You,
You gotta love YouTube.
drool from my mouth. But they like the French, I think, were the first to translate like into a European language.
Okay,
like,
from Japanese.
From Japanese. And then the Portuguese people, like, somehow acquired it.
The French translation.
Yeah, but they didn't really know French.
They're like, we just gotta get this
so
shit out there.
they had the animation and a kind of a vague idea what was happening. They kind of just filled in the blanks in between.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, like, pop culture references to, like, what was happening at the time. And they'll mention, like, you know, like, soccer teams and stuff like
Get
that.
the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
That's so far
It'll be... Like, they mention what's happening in real life and, you know, like...
in Portugal?
Yeah, and, like, stuff. But it was, like, ridiculous. And there would be, like, carryover jokes, which, like, it took... when I was watching it, I was like, oh, yeah, like, how did I not... I was like, now that I think about it, like, it was all, like, jokes after jokes. It wasn't...
It's like they didn't even care, like, what originally had been written for the...
And we didn't care either, because, you know, obviously the fighting does most of the... Like, we could tell what's happening, you know? It's like, that's stupid.
How old were you when you came here?
8.
8. Me too.
Like, I just turned 8. Like, I was about to turn 8. Like,
yeah, me too.
Good year to emigrate.
I don't think so. Not for me.
No.
I did a study on this for my what
Maybe
class
it
was
works,
that?
It works out in the end, I guess.
Oh, damn it! It was it's like not a statistics class, but
Social science?
A graphs class.
oh man, no. What's anthropology? Is that when you study
yes,
people?
Human beings.
Okay, damn, that was so hard. 420 took a hit on me. I had an anthropology class. It was an online class, which was bullshit. But I had an anthropology class, which I did okay. But at the end, you had to do like some survey and stuff. So, or some study on. I forgot what the things were, but I was trying to figure out how well immigrants did depending on the year they immigrated, like how old they were, to see if there was a difference.
Yeah.
And I did all this like research kind of like as much as I could because I'm kind of limited to what's available. But I'm not doing all this research, you know?
Yeah. But I think you could do really good work just like with what you have.
Yeah,
So,
and I basically noticed like nothing really.
no trend?
No, it wasn't enough for me to say like definitely.
That's good. Good science.
It was
there.
like but that's not how I came into it. And I was kind of mad. I was like, I didn't prove it, but I was like, I guess that's the point too. Like that's fair, you know. Like the result is what matters, not what you intended for. But I think just the ones that came later on didn't do as well. But I thought there was like a bigger... Okay, so I divided into like subsections of like really young, like 1 through 5, and then like 6 to like 10, and then like 11 to 14. Because I was thinking if they came in during puberty, it would be like more turbulent and they wouldn't do as well. But apparently it wasn't as bad. Like puberty was still like, acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
It was only like later in adult life that it wasn't as like profitable, you know, in a sense, like successful measures of success, like going to college and, you know, like doing all that.
And now, how did you have where did you get the data for how well they had done over the course of their lifetime?
I had Googled other studies that had surveyed, you know, like, oh, it was different age groups, but it was also immigrants versus, like, first generation, second generation, third generation. That's what it was. I forgot, like, I had, like, different sections to it. Because I'm thinking back, I'm like, this sounds stupid. It's like, how did I even do that? I was like, oh, yeah. So it's that, and there seemed to be no difference between first generation, you know, what year they came in. Only later in life they seemed to do well, and then the rest were all just like a blur. Is all about the same.
Oh yeah, so going through all the generations,
they did better, but it still wasn't that significant. It just felt like a big blob. It's like every number was 60. I'm like, ugh. It was like one of those things.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain it.
Anthropology is pretty interesting, but I had a class for it too, and I hated the class.
Did you do any kind of like data-driven science like that?
Not really, but I had to go interview somebody at a drug rehab place.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I had to interview somebody and then write a paper, like have an interview with them and then write it down. And you know what? I embellished a lot, you know.
Oh shit!
And I just basically lied on the paper. Like most of it was true, but I embellished, like I exaggerated. I made him sound almost like he was really freaking out when really nothing was happening. Like I did a little bit of that.
Yeah, just to make a good reading.
Get that A.
That's good. The good professor probably appreciates.
But then, the funny thing is, then like the guy, the kid in rehab who I did the interview with, he wanted a copy of the paper because he wanted to be proud of it or something. Because the place was going to be on the school's anthropology section or whatever,
right?
Or whatever the hell it was going to be on.
Oh no!
And then I'm like, oh crap! So then I had to go back into the essay and take out the hyperbole and all the exaggerations.
Right.
And then I edited it and I handed him that.
Cover your tracks there.
Did he say anything? Like, thanks, man.
No, he doesn't say anything.
He probably has like a plan to kill you. Bad mouth you. You notice like one typo you didn't take out.
This is my chance.
That place was scary. I didn't like going there.
Bet.
And my team sucked. Like everybody was really fake excited at first, and nobody showed up to do it. You know, I was like the one who did it, most of it.
That's what I always fucking hated about group work.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my god, you fucking assholes.
There should be an option to just do it alone.
I always I remember one of my memories from middle school is like teachers like get in groups, and I was like, and then she like started yelling at me because I had such a crappy attitude. But it was such a slowdown, you know? Like, I always felt like, oh my god, like, now it's like, I'm gonna do the same work, but just 3 times slower than I could have just done it myself, you know, with you people.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then, I guess, admittedly, another thing that I always was afraid of was, like, this is like a trust issue thing, I don't want to, like,
depend on someone else.
I don't want them to depend on me either. I feel like I don't want to count on you, and I don't want you to count on me because I know I might fuck this up, you know. So if I fuck it up, like I want to be like the only one who takes the heat for it. I don't want to like bring people down, you know. So it's like, but I guess maybe that's like a form of cowardice, you know.
I just know like the social anxiety thing of it. It's like I talk to like random strangers. It sucked. I actually kind of like a little better when they just threw you in a group and you're forced. And it's like, all right. We're stuck here with our situation. Let's make the best out of it, rather than like pick your own groups. Because then there was like everyone's like speed groups. Want to be in my group? Want to be in my? It's like ah. And left with like
like the best friends that just like automatically, and then they grab on.
They just
like
link up. You just try to find the closest person to you.
In our English class, it was me, you, and Steve.
Oh, yeah,
Remember, it was me, you, and Steve. Was there a fourth? Joshua.
I think just 3 of us.
Just the 3 of us.
Right? Or somebody else?
Was the fallen angel in that one as well, or no?
Not the fallen angel. No, he wasn't.
The Lucifer.
Yes, Lucifer.
He wasn't, I don't think. I remember once we had to write an essay in that class, and Steve did a bad job. And then I read it, and I'm like, Steve, this sucks. And then he's like, why don't you do it then? I'm like, that's such a shitty response, you know? Like, no, you do it right, you know?
Yeah.
To think about, like, I stressed over schoolwork.
I know.
I feel dirty. I feel like I was violated for years, and I'm remembering it now. Finally,
imagine how I feel because I have to do that to young people. You know,
I mean, your art doesn't count.
I try to make it. I really do try to make it as painless as possible, but they suck. You know.
But I'm saying, like, honestly, the art classes, art, and
gym.
Other forms of art, gym. Honestly, I think art and gym are one of the few things that.
Or ever actually enjoyable.
Yeah, or good for me. It's like, at least you move around. I was pretty fit in high school for the most part. And then I started playing tennis, which helped out. But
it is cool that they force you to exercise. That's good, at least.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
That's like
but then they don't force you because there's always those fat people that just kind of lay about. Or those girls are always like, I have my period. Like, it's like, damn, you've been on your period for 3 months straight. You should, like,
you
check
should have
that out.
bled to death by now.
Check that shit out. But, People that wanted to be lazy found ways to be lazy. And then they suck at sports. Those are the worst. It's like, let's say we're all playing volleyball. You know, you split the arena into, however you guys did it too, but I assume it was similar. Like, we split the court. It was basically, like, 8 volleyball courts that we had.
Oh, yeah, we did that too.
Yeah.
And then we'd rotate, like, teams, you know. And, so we'd all be playing it, and then they'd go to, like, that one girl, and she was like, and she'd be like, It's like, come on, it's like, you're such a, like,
everyone's,
shithead.
like, killing themselves, like, diving to, like, get it over.
There'd be people like, oh, man, I remember,
that would be such an aggravating thing, you know?
I don't know if you knew Lewis, remember that kid that you were in the car, and he kept driving away from me, and I was trying to catch up? It was a long time ago. He was in Rutgers. Do you remember? It was on my street. Anyway, his sister was, because we had, it would be split between, Jim would be freshmen and sophomores in the class.
Okay.
And then the other configuration was juniors and seniors. So they'd always play either with someone younger or someone older. Like, they'd mix you guys up. Mm-hmm. So we had younger, and she was, like, really good. She would just, like, dive, throw herself on the floor, like, fucking, like...
Because she was playing on the team, right?
Oh, yeah, she was playing on the team. She does MMA now, too. She's crazy.
Get out.
Yeah.
All right.
And so she's always hardcore. But it's like, you see her, and then you just see some other people just like, and it's like, she has no reason to do this.
Yeah.
It's like, it hurts. It's like, do you not care about your fellow teammate?
Yeah, I know what it is, you know, it's like, because for some people, like, just like kind of like what I was talking about before, it's like, the fear of going for it and failing is too much. So people opt out. They say, like, well, I won't fail. If I don't try, I can't fail. That's the idea.
Yeah, but they fail anyway.
Yes, they do, but they don't realize that.
I was shitty at gym class, and so were you, right?
That's why I was pointing at Tony, because, you know, we were like, I failed gym once. I was one of the lazy people.
How do you fail gym?
That's what all my family said. My uncles and everything are very athletic people. It's like, we're kind of like the odd ones out. Like, all my uncles and all their kids are athletes. And they all play sports, and they all love sports.
But you didn't change, is that why?
I did. It's a lot of not changing and then not actually doing anything, just avoiding playing. And me and Tony, like, when we were playing football, like, we used to both play, like, linemen, and we would just, like, go like this and, like, block each other but not really do anything. And so we would just stand like this, like, resting on each other for a few moments while they ran the play, and then we would just do that again, like...
You guys played football?
Yeah, because we had the big open in our Franklin school.
Man, we never played football.
No, because you can't.
And he would yell at us to not do that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You play dodgeball though, right?
Dodgeball I liked, yeah.
They don't let you play that anymore, right?
No, not really.
I think it's against.
You can name it something else.
That was pretty brutal, though.
Do something.
That's what I heard. They just keep. It's called Bombshell now. There's a new game called Bombshell. You throw balls at each other. It's like, all right, this is battleship.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. I love dodgeball. That was the best. In the playground was.
They should make basket dodgeball where you can't move if you're holding the ball. You gotta bounce it.
Did you like baseball?
I like that one, dude.
Baseball's lame. I like kickball, though.
Did you like baseball?
Oh, we did baseball. Yeah, I didn't like baseball, too. So much fucking downtime, you know? Yeah. It's like, oh, great. It's like, we're batting. It's like, okay, wait forever to bat. It's like, okay, we're on the field. All right, wait forever for someone to hit something.
I would let people pass me. I'm like, yeah, you can go first. I don't care.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, it was like... it was too much of... a flip between doing nothing to like freaking out,
Yeah,
which I guess has its own sort of
psychology.
and value to it, and people can really get into it. But I couldn't.
Yeah, it's too subtle for.
I would go like far to like the left
I want
field.
constant like movement, you know.
I would always like cover the way back where nobody could hit the ball.
Yeah, I'd always like hang out in the outfield. Like I don't want to try to catch these balls because they'd suck those balls because they like it'd be like the wiffle balls. We didn't use like real balls because we were inside a gym.
Yeah,
they'd always like have a crazy spin to it.
Yeah,
We'd always have
those
crazy spin balls. Like no ball like worked like a regular ball.
No.
Only like the soccer ball, and even then barely.
I
Those
remember
like the heavy ones, like so you can't like kill people.
once during those shitty football days, some kid threw a lock at somebody in the locker room. You remember a kid? I remember a kid named Ronald, not Luya, another Ronald.
Oh man, I don't remember.
A kid named Oscar threw like a lock at him. I'm like, oh man.
Oh, Oscar? I know. I remember
The little
Oscar.
guy.
Yeah, he was the Mexican kid.
Yeah, but you don't remember Ronald Hernandez? Ronald Hernandez.
Ronald Hernandez.
He lived on Davis.
I think I do remember him.
Him. So that Oscar kid threw a lock at that Ronald.
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
fuck him up.
he cried after. I'm like, oh,
That's
no.
fair.
I'm like, that's fine.
This thing should hurt.
And I didn't really like that Ronald kid, but
Yeah, but no, I remember that kid Oscar. He was a bit of a troublemaker.
yeah.
Do you guys have pool?
We did, but it was filled with like locked up and filled with boxes and some weird shit.
Oh.
right?
At KHS?
Yeah,
I
at
never,
KHS. Yeah.
I never got to see it.
No.
I went there for 4 years. I never
We
saw
had a
it.
pool class at least. Though.
Oh, you
Yeah,
did?
that was
Yeah.
the Harrison's
Oh, wow.
thing.
Yeah, once a semester.
Oh, every year once a semester?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
One whole semester would be just pool.
Was there competitions and stuff?
I mean, it'd just be like gym, but in water.
Yeah.
So we
Right.
play pool. We play volleyball like in water.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Could you just swim laps if you wanted?
No, it's like you had to do whatever the activity was.
That sucks. But I guess it's not a huge pool, so
Yeah.
they probably can't make room for
I mean,
everyone.
it was a normal sized pool. You know, like you could. It's held for competitions and stuff like that. They have an Olympic sized one now.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know why, but I guess our swim team was decent. I don't know.
That's crazy, man. Pools cost a lot of money, you know? You gotta maintain that shit.
Yeah. I mean, they have it open during the summer. Maybe that generates enough like money.
Oh, okay.
You know?
But wait, at the new high school?
No, the old high school had it. I don't know if the new now where they do it.
So they replaced the pool where the pool was.
I mean, the pool's still there. Now it's just a middle school instead of the high school.
But they made that pool bigger?
No, it's still the same size. At the new high school, it has a
The
newer,
Olympic. The Olympic sized pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but is
You
that
can
one
see it
open
from
to
the
the
outside.
public?
I don't know. I'm never there
No, right?
or in
walk
the
in.
area. That's
Just
some.
walk
Just take ownership.
I pissed there once.
Oh, God.
And not in the pool, like
Oh, okay.
on the building itself.
Oh,
Nice.
okay. That's a
So,
little
like,
bit better
uh,
at least.
Oh, yeah.
When they were still
Oh,
building,
no, you should have peed in the
I
pool.
think
There
it
you
Glad you
go.
made
was-
that distinction.
it was me, like Edmund, and like Wolf.
That sounds like
Someone
a team.
else were all like fucked up.
Sounds like
Yeah.
a team who would do that.
And we were
Yeah.
hanging out. We were hanging out like in the park. I think we had been drinking.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know if we had been drinking right in.
Where
the park.
was I? It seems like I should have been there drinking too.
I don't know,
All right.
but
think we're too
we
drunk
were
to get
wandering
there.
around. They're still building the new high school, but
Uh-huh.
it was all framework kind of.
Right.
But you could still get in, so we just went in and we all just pissed all over the girders inside, like
There you go.
claiming ownership.
Yeah.
Because we were supposed to be the first class to graduate, or we were supposed to be like I think our sophomore year we were supposed to go there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you guys really got
And
gypped.
then it's supposed to be the year after, and then we're like, we're supposed to be the first graduating class.
And it was the year after you guys graduated,
Yeah,
right?
so we were the last class to graduate from the old high school,
Oh.
which I think is kind of cool.
I
think it's better.
that's something at least. At least you're on one edge.
Yeah.
One side of the river there.
We're the end of an era. Yeah, after that they had to wear uniforms and shit, and they had like 2-hour blocks of classes
They did
instead of the
blocks?
45. Like,
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I never did the block.
to me, I like blocks better because that's more like college level, like spacing. And to me, you could get more work done in 2 hours if you had an art class.
Well, I mean, art, that's different, man. Art is different.
Or any other. I think you could get more into the subject. You could cover more ground.
Who do you think is... Do you not remember what high schoolers are like? They do not have that kind of concentration.
I mean,
Maybe like one in... Maybe like...
if you train them, they might.
Yeah, but how well do they get trained?
Oh.
I don't know. It's just my, like... Because I'm in the school system
You're
now.
tarnished.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. It's just like... Students just...
suck.
I like this better, by the way. Just where we did the thing first.
Yeah.
Now, because I don't have that anxiety that we have to like finish this and then go
Yeah,
off.
that's true.
That feels good.
Fuck off. I can just be a lazy bum. Sorry, go on. But yeah,
No.
that's cool.
I think that like the attention span realistically is like let's say you get the student engaged in the material, and I feel like a lot of time goes by where the students are never even actually engaged with the material. By that, obviously, I mean like they're paying attention to what's being discussed, or they're paying attention to what they're reading. They're actually like looking, you know. At that point, you'll hold them for like 5 minutes if you're lucky. If you're lucky, 5 minutes of that.
Damn. Well, they're really bad.
Yeah.
This is what we should do. Alright. Every school comes in, gym for everybody. Everyone's running.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing crazy stuff. Just get all the pent up energy out.
On the
And
first
then-
thing in the morning, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Second period, you know, we close them off in the room. It's like, all right, this is an open sex period. You guys want you know, we'll be in the corner, you know, come out 45. No, let's skip that one. That's crazy. We still keep the gym thing. That's basically the same thing. And then they get them out, and then they're pooped. You know, they have all that stuff out. You know, they're a bit more focused.
Uh-huh.
And throw them into class. You know?
I think that is a good way to do it. The only thing, though, I think if you're going to do that, and this is just from like my own observations as a teacher, it's like the freshman class I teach, they always have gym the period before like they come into my class, and they're all pretty amped up about gym. Like they seem like a good group where everyone's like pretty enthusiastic about playing, and so they come back and they're all like fucking like they've just been like going hard for like 45 minutes. Like they're all sweaty and like out of breath and everything. Like they're coming right down the stairs to me. So I feel like after like you do have like a long gym workout, but you give like the appropriate like kind of cool down.
Well, that's the thing too. They probably don't. Do they shower and stuff, or they just go?
Nah,
straight?
they just come in.
Yeah.
Some of them will like run to the bathroom and like put some deodorant on or something like that.
You gotta have a refractory like period. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like you have a long gym block, like an hour and a half or something like that,
Yeah.
and then you have 15 minutes to get a shower.
Dude, that
Change,
I
you know,
really
something
I'm
like
with that idea. I think we should like somebody said before, it's like the physical fitness thing element of school is like one of the things that we're kind of doing right. You know, it's like, and we should do more of that. It's like,
Yeah, why not?
but it's all about test scores. That's why. So like test scores, like this data shit, like it drives the whole fucking like world of education.
Just probably somebody owns a data processor that owns
Well, yeah,
a
that's
test,
yeah,
manufacturer
exactly,
that, you know.
in a big way, you know. And I think in the beginning, the reason like all this standardized test shit came out was the reason was accountability for teachers, you know, where it's like because students were graduating and not being like educated, you know, like they couldn't read and shit in some cases, and so then they were like, okay, well, we have to find a way to rank the quality of education. And what did they decide? That should be a standardized test, you know? But I think like what you're talking about, then Pearson, companies like Pearson and companies that make money off of testing, like created the market. I mean, hell, maybe they created the fucking like conditions in the first place. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that happens. Like wars have been fought that way. Products have been sold that way where it's
You
just
went far
like,
with that.
what's that?
You went deep into that.
It's true though. It is. Like, oh, look, they shot at our boat. It's time to go to war. It's like, oh, well, 30, 40 years later. No, they didn't shoot the boat actually and blah, blah, blah. And then it's like the same thing with the food industry where it's like, oh my God, you know, don't eat, what was it the one? Fat. Fat is bad for you. Fat will kill for you.
Yeah.
You know, but then it's like sugar. Sugar takes over, you know? So there's always that kind of, what's that called? Red herring, you know? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I'm willing to believe it though.
Where it's like a distractor from
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
actual thing you should be paying attention to. It's a sleight of hand that's perpetrated against the masses like repeatedly. So anyway, back to education. Here we are. Things don't look too good. Future is bleak. And I think if we did do that, like it would be good, you know. And I think that would be I think like quality time over quantity would be so much better.
I feel like school's too long too.
Yeah, but I mean, if you came and did, what if your first 2 hours of school was about like physical fitness, you know?
Yeah, maybe it should be like 5 hours. How long is it?
It's
5 hours of physical fitness?
yes.
Oh, school?
Raise
Yeah, school 5 hours, including lunch. So 2 hours lunch, 2 hours.
2 hours lunch in 2 hours?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Because then you're just really strict, and you know, people will grow to appreciate, and then they'll get with the program. I don't know. That probably wouldn't work.
No, it does actually. At first, when I started teaching, like, I was like, oh, I gotta be like, make all these kids love me, and we'll love each other, and we'll be a big happy fucking family. And now, like, after like coming to like the beginning of the end of my second year as a teacher, it's like, no, do not let anybody like run anything except you. You have to control like everything that happens. Like,
so you're getting better results doing that?
What's that?
You're getting better results out?
Much better.
Okay.
Much better. And I think they just respect you more. You know, that's the
Maybe
thing.
that's right, yeah.
You know, no, but I totally agree with you. I think that is the way to do it, you know? And it's like, if you don't want to get with the program, it's like, you just gotta like, get rid of that. I listened to this great book, Extreme Ownership, because when you sent me the Guy Ritchie podcast, with Joe Rogan, he mentions that book. And Guy Ritchie, I was so sold about like how awesome that dude was. Like hearing like what he had to say about shit, I was like, yo, this guy really understands. Like this guy really gets it. So as soon as he mentioned that book, I was like, well, if this cool person is recommending it, I'm gonna get it. And
what book again?
Extreme Ownership.
And what are they saying there?
Extreme Ownership. It's like
You have it on Audible or?
yeah. So it's these two Navy SEALs. They wrote the book together, and they have a firm now that they do like corporate consultation and team building stuff. And they talk about leadership. The whole book is about leadership, right? And it's like the idea of extreme ownership is that like you have to take responsibility for everything that happens in the situations where you're leading. You know, you can't like you always have to like put yourself as like the reason for pass or fail. You know, you have to see that in yourself. And it's not, and that doesn't mean that you have to like win every time, but whenever you lose, you have to like take ownership as the leader of that cause or mission or whatever and say like, how did I allow this to happen? And you can't blame the people below you because you're responsible for them. And then you can't blame the people above you because it's your job to understand them and stuff like that. But they talk about all these different lessons. And, you know, to be honest, I was really much following this. Like, I do put a lot of responsibility on myself, but then they talk about a lot of other tactical ideas, and they give a lot of examples. And it's a really cool book. They talk about their war experience, they talk about the principle they're talking about, how it applied in their war experience, how it applied in and then they give you, like, a case study of a client they work with. And
this is awesome.
Oh, so they have, like, thought out examples. It's not just like, and then you gotta be at one with
yes, because you know they're Navy SEALs, so everything is a fucking practical example. They talk about the principle, they tell you how it happened to them in the battlefield, then they tell you how it happened, how they witnessed it in the corporate world, and it's really cool. The war stories are really cool. I was like, oh man, this makes.
Did they narrate it?
Yeah, and they're like,
oh, that shit.
Ramadi, Iraq. It's a hot summer morning. Sun was just coming over the horizon. Dust. It's really dramatic. It's like, oh shit.
Is there music?
No, there's no, but there is some sound effects. It's like the first call of prayer to come on. It's like, you hear like the thing, and then the ID exploded. And you hear the actual explosion. It's like, oh shit.
That sounds good.
It is. It's a great book. I would highly
You
recommend
already finished it?
I did, and I'm already re-listening, but I'm not going to re-listen because I feel like I really absorbed it when I listened to it. But it's been instrumental, and then it woke me up to this idea. I was like, I've been totally like avoiding the challenges in a lot of areas of my life, and I think like that's what I was doing a lot of, where there were certain areas where I was taking like extreme ownership and being like, this is my thing, and I got this, and I was doing that. But then there were other areas, maybe areas of my life that weren't as attractive to me, that I wasn't doing it, and I was being hesitant, and that I was, you know, having failure like mount up because I wasn't like taking proper ownership, you know, and in a lot of cases I was being cowardly to do so, like, because that's the thing. It's like when you take a leadership position, like when that kind of happens at the same time, like the moment you take leadership is the moment you take responsibility. So it's like those people, like on the volleyball court, those kids, you know, it's like they didn't take responsibility. They didn't take ownership or leadership of that moment, of that one little moment to control their own body, to move their hand, to get behind that ball, you know. And I was doing that. I was like letting it just fall so that I couldn't do it. But then that book inspired me to start like, just like activate it. And it's like, this is so fucked up, but the SEALs, like they have this ethic of like working through the pain. And they talk about like their training of Hell Week, right? And how it was like, it wasn't the biggest, strongest guys that passed. It was like there were, I mean, all these guys have got to be like in really great shape. But he says, he's like, everybody who made it to that point had passed like the physical portion of the test. Like Hell Week is a different thing where they like kind of torture you mentally and well physically. But it's the people who are stronger mentally that can survive the physical torture.
Right.
And so then I just started like looking for more opportunities where I'm like, where am I like shirking away from pain? You know? Where have I learned to like hide from pain because I don't want to engage because I'm afraid of getting hurt? And then I started looking for those things and I started going for them, you know?
So now you're looking for pain.
I'm looking for pain. I'm looking to bring the pain. But it was, and you know, that conversation I had with my wife, I have to say, was kind of inspired by that book because I was like, there's a lot of shit that like I'm not taking responsibility for right now and it's hurting me and it's hurting my family life. And I got to step up and just do this and like be brutal if I have to, but like it's more important that the right thing gets said.
Right.
And of course that the right thing gets done after that, you know. But yeah, I would recommend it.
That sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah.
So how have things been with your wife?
It's been good. Like we've smoothed over like the drama of the
Blowout.
yeah, thank you, of that. And now it's like we're kind of like back into a usual kind of like routine sort of thing.
Okay.
And it's nice. And but I feel like what I do have to be aware of is like how I have to keep the kind of like conversation on like, okay, like how do we make this better? You know, because it's like I'm noticing now that there's like a kind of pattern where there's like the blow up, but then it's like that kind of goes and it reorganizes back into the same thing basically, you know, and then it kind of just goes through the same motion until like a similar kind of escalation takes place and then boom, you know, blows up again, but it keeps like materializing back like into roughly the same pattern of being.
So this is an elaborate project for you.
Yeah. And that, yeah. And so I think what I have to do is like find ways that we can continue to move the conversation forward. We can continue to make actions that are the like correct actions.
Sounds like you're talking about battling a nation.
Yeah, it is. It's
you gotta change your strategy, right?
Love is a battlefield.
Because like the results of the explosion are just the materials for a new explosion to form.
That's what's happening. Yeah, it's like
it's like a never-ending explosion. So
yeah.
If you can harness that for power, like we'd be good.
Yeah,
but you can't.
You got to find a way, though. You know, it's my job, my mission. So yeah, we'll see. You know, it's like, and I do think it has a lot to do with like, as all change does. It's about behavior, as not so much like concept or idealists.
Do you think I more negatively impacted your relationship with your wife, or more positively?
Over like the course of just interacting with it,
just her? In general, yeah.
I don't know. Probably negatively, yeah, if I had to say. Not that you...
Is it negative, or is it more instance-filled because of it?
What do you mean by that?
You know, there are more interactions that could possibly have negative outcomes. At least on negative in the sense that there's a conflict.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
He sends out, like, conflict waves for you guys.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, yeah, that's what he's doing. But you know what? I'll tell you what.
What I'm saying is conflicts aren't necessarily negative.
No,
if you make progress through.
Yes, I think you're right about that. I do think you're right about that.
Except in this case.
And so, in your like negativity, I guess we could potentially see that as like a positive influence because
he's progressing. Yeah, he's progressing. Yeah.
You're forcing the issue. I'll say that. You have a tendency to force the issue.
Have you texted his wife recently?
No, I haven't.
Not since the last time, right?
No, probably shouldn't.
No, I think you were
That's
right.
a thought.
That's a good way. You kind of try to bend over backwards to say that I haven't ruined your relationship.
It's that kind of clear-sightedness and honesty that I appreciate so much about you, Tony.
But last time I didn't do anything. I feel like, I don't know. Last time I didn't do anything insulting, and then I just walked away, so I think that was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not going to say anything. I think, yeah. I was thinking of trolling her like I told you, but then you said don't do that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, no.
That's not gonna work.
No,
Wait,
I'm not gonna
Is
tolerate
she
that.
picking? So where's she picking you up from?
I don't know. I didn't.
How's
Tell her
that
to
go?
come up for a drink.
You guys can wait outside.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We're just gonna stand on like that balcony area and just wave as she pulls up
I don't think I can
and
stomach
avoids eye contact.
it. It's so cringy that
Yeah.
I kind of want to do it, but
Should I don't know.
Should we just leave you there alone and we go on our separate ways and then?
I think she would be angry.
Yeah, she might.
Can't win.
Because she would be like, they're doing it on purpose, and which you kind of are, but I mean, it's a free country, so I guess I can't stop you.
And I feel like it's mean spirited, or it is funny. Like the trolling is also kind of mean spirited, but
Yeah, that is a troll move, and it's not.
What if we leave?
No, if you're there, like waving.
Yeah. Do we just not wave then?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like, but you know what
You know what
what's
you're
within
doing.
your rights to do, but you also know like what you're gonna do by using your rights that way.
Yeah.
You can do it. Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to do that, but I feel like I don't want to
cannot
cause.
stop you guys.
I don't want to. I feel like it is mean
And of
spirited.
course, I could avoid you too, and I could just say like, "Oh, pick me up over here," and then
Yeah.
you guys would have to follow me. At which point, you would take your trolling to like another level. Then you'd be like, "Oh, you're really going for it now."
You're running around town trying to avoid.
Once you buy it, you could go to like CVS. Like, I gotta buy something from CVS. Like, I'll just
Yeah,
have her
right,
meet me
meet me
here.
here.
I'd be like, you know
And
what?
you come out with something from CVS, you know, then that's the perfect alibi.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, I don't want to. I think even appearing is kind of trolling her. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just gonna not troll her.
Yeah,
But I want.
not appearing is also the same thing. That's what I'm saying. You know, no matter what, if
guess
somebody
you-
takes offense to anything, it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah. Well, Julie hates me, so I feel like I can't. I don't know.
You should wear a mask. You should go, it'd be me, James, and that robed figure. Perhaps a cleric from the olden ages.
Like a monk.
Yeah.
Like a monk.
Possibly a wizard.
Who's that guy? That's
We met him at a D&D campaign night.
Nosferatu.
I can't pronounce his name yet. Is it hard? We don't have those vowels in human language.
But yeah, for the same reason I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't troll her via text. Although I kind of wanted to, because it is kind of funny, but it is also mean spirited in a way.
It is.
So I shouldn't do that.
What would you send her?
I was thinking like nonsense, like I thought about it, and after thinking about it, I accept your apology.
Oh, that. Yeah.
or like light things like that, not like insulting, cutting things,
I think there's more battles to be fought.
It's true.
For you to see, for you to do those texts,
Yeah.
and be taken as a lighthearted jest.
Yeah. I think there is no hope. Do you think there's hope?
I'm willing to hold on for hope. Because
Yeah.
if not, then what's the point?
That's true.
Yeah. I have hope.
I guess I really blew it.
You didn't. It wasn't your responsibility to make anything right.
It's not over. I think there's still chances. There's a long time left in all our lives.
That's right.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully, right?
Your wife's saga continues.
That's right. On and on. I really appreciate it, though, guys. You guys have been very, very patient, to say the least. So, and tolerant too. So.
Your wife doesn't generally do anything to me anyway. Even if she hates me, it doesn't really affect me.
Right.
Generally, so it's not like I walk around thinking, "Oh no, she hates me." I mean, your wife hates me.
Yeah, that's true. You don't have to really interact.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel, Eric?
For the most part. Although I wouldn't mind interacting, because it's part of your world,
Yeah.
It's just nice to be there for
Yeah.
half of it, basically.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah,
And that's how I feel too. It's like that's what hurts me. It's like
both are true. Yeah.
It's like the one room you can't go in the house.
yeah, but it's such a
Why
big
not?
room. It's like it's where I keep a lot of cool stuff in that room.
Yeah. Stop kicking me out of your special room. I want in. You guys want to
Yeah, that's a wrap, right?
Yeah. Is it too
You
sad?
You got
Should
more,
we-
Tony?
Should we do it?
Should we do the what?
I was like, should we do a joke? Was that like too sad of a
You want to
ending?
sing a song here?
Perhaps a clap along. The spur of the spirits.
A chant, perhaps?
Yeah, we can go.
Okay. No chant.